What is up, guys? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm really excited to bring you my full review of the WE Beacon. The WE Beacon has a 3.5-inch CPM 20CV coated and stone washed blade steel, 4.375-inch titanium frame lock handle, which is also stone washed. Overall length is 7.875 inches and claimed weight is 3.65 ounces. Let's get the scale, bring that over here and check that weight. We'll do some comparison knives so that you can get an idea of the size of the Beacon, and then I'll talk about my thoughts and impressions. No surprise, WE Civivi's weights have never missed. I've never brought one out here that doesn't meet what it claims to weigh. So that's a really good EDC size and weight. And we're going to circle back to the knife here in just a moment. Let me go ahead and bring out my Spydercos. First up is going to be my Spyderco Yojimbo 2. This one here is a DLT trading exclusive with 20 CV steel on it. Next up, we're going to bring out the Spyderco Shaman. So, Shaman. I said Shaman. What the hell? Shaman. So you can see here that the Beacon is definitely closer in size to the Yojimbo 2. Presence is different, but it's definitely closer in size to that Yojimbo 2. So let me go ahead and get these out of here, and we'll go ahead and bring out the crossbar locks that I like to use in these comparison. A really great comparison here too is going to be the Benchmade bug out with the Flytanium titanium scales. That is at flytanium.com. I get questioned all the time where I got these scales. I am very surprised because I thought Flytanium was extremely popular, especially because Blade HQ sells them on their website. The next crossbar lock is going to be the SIG K320 made by Hogue. As you can see here, it is a little bit longer than the bug out, but not quite as long overall length. Let me line them up a little bit better. As the, or is it? It looks really close, but I thought it was a little bit shorter than the SIG. Hold on, I'm going to bring them up here. Yeah, there we go. You can definitely see it now. Yeah. Okay. I think it was just the angle of that. But those are the crossbar locks. And again, I think the bug out is really close and a really nice comparison for that one. We're going to bring out the cheap knives for the comparison. First up is going to be the Kubi Royal, which is a sub 3-inch blade stock. And we're going to bring out the Civivi Conspirator, which is the subsidiary or sister company of WE. Just trying to line those pivots up a little hard because that pivot is like, it's either integrated or seamless. No, I haven't had to take it apart yet. I try not to take a knife apart if it comes from the factory working smoothly. As you can see here, just a little bit smaller than a Conspirator and a little bit bigger than the Royal. Let's go ahead and do a quick profile comparison. I feel it is important to do that one on the Beacon because it is a very thin EDC knife. So you can see here against the Conspirator, whoops, I'm looking at the knife off camera. I'm sorry about that. You can see the Beacon is much thinner. Let's go ahead and bring that bug out back out because I think this is really going to be a close comparison. I am going to, oh, hold on, sorry, I'm leaning on my little journal. I'm going to call that even due to the contouring on the bug out. I'm going to call that even. It's too close to tell on camera. Really quick, I'll bring out the SIG so you can see it is thinner than both ends of that. Keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and bring out, I'm not bringing the Shaman out because it is more closely matched to the Yojimbo 2, but you can see here this is just a much thinner knife. Let me just talk about the fact that this has an American-made steel on the knife. It is manufactured in the USA because it is CPM 20 CV, and I gotta try to remember where it states that on here. Oh, I'm having a really hard time finding it. Is it in the closed position? Maybe it's in the closed position that you can see it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I found it. Gosh. Had a hard I love the fact that Civivi WE has decided to minimalistically brand their steels. That's one thing that I do give them kudos for that I appreciate and I like is that it's very minimal. It is bought and probably sent over to China, where then they do the machining, because this is not really, this is a machine ground knife, and coated it, put their edge on it. Edge on it is really well done. I like the blade shape on it. Pretty good stone wash on there. Have a look at that black coating having a nice stone wash on it. I appreciate that, because as you use the knife, you don't really see the markings on it like you do when it's just straight coated. So you can see I get a lot of use. I love this Yojimbo, but you can see it gets plenty of use. You can see all the little scarring on top of the coating. I appreciate the coating because 20CV is not super duper corrosive resistant. The jimping on here is actually okay. It does have a fair amount of bite onto it without being too aggressive and too shallow. It's kind of okay. I think that's about the best way that I can describe it. This is a really thin EDC. This thing is going to be super duper slicey. It's going to go through the materials really, really well. And so far, from what I've experienced on the 20CV that WE is producing on their high-end knives, done pretty good. Let's talk about the flipper tab next, since we're on the blade. It has jimping that goes all the way to the top. Let's see if I can, there you go. And it's done pretty well. And oop, my finger was on the lock bar. Apologies, that is me, not the knife. I'm going to put it down on this pocket clip that we'll get to in a minute. And the D10 is tuned pretty well. Hard to fail it. You have to really be trying to stop as soon as you feel the brake to stop it. And part of that is because I have only carried this a handful of times. I have not broken it in all the way. Knife came centered from WE. They do a good job making sure that their knives are centered. I like the cuts being ribbed like that, and the pocket clip being past it. Goes in and out of the pocket fine. I've had a couple instances where it's got caught up on that. When I'm lifting up on the knife and pulling away, it seems like the denim catches it and causes it to kind of coming out, and one time it got stuck. But for the most part, if you're pulling straight up with it, no issues. I like the fact that they did the standoff in the back. For those of you that like the lanyard, I'm glad to see that the hole is going away. This one does have a fuller, and it works really well for right-handed folks. Really, really well. Left-handed, I've had a hard time deploying it because you have to figure out where to put the finger, and I can't find the right spot. And when I do, my index finger ends up being on the way, because I'm using the index finger to also kind of stop it. Now, I am assuming with the pocket clip over here, holding it in place somewhere for me to put my finger, or to put the meat of my hand maybe to get to it, I probably could deploy it then. I'm trying to find the fuller now. There we go. I think it could potentially work, but I think at this point I'd like to just see manufacturers doing either a bolster, or just having it inset like what MGM has done on the Gosia, so you don't really have that issue. You get the liner lock and you get titanium all the way around, and a cleaner look in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. The stone wash on the titanium is fine. Very thin slabs of titanium, so you will not see any milling on this, because it is really thin, and the weight on it is fine. They have some micro milling here. I think that's more for when you have that finger locked in and you're using it, because you're really not going to get this deployed with the thumb with the fuller very easily. I have to find and then dig my finger into the fuller and flip it out, and it barely wants to go. Overall, I like this knife a lot better than I did the Seer. I like the size and the ergos of it, and I feel like it's a well-produced knife, and it's very competitively priced at $200. Hard to argue with titanium American steel at 20 CV being manufactured well. It has dual means of deployment. My biggest complaint is going to be this pocket clip. I feel this in hand, even on the thinner knife. I still feel it in the palm of my hand right here. It digs in. I think all manufacturers should go to the style that lays flat and curves up, because I feel with the hand resting here, you're less likely to feel this in hand. Yeah, I feel that it's there, but because my hand's resting on that whole lock bar, this just feels like I randomly have something out of the knife poking into my hand. So I also feel like these function a little bit better as a pocket clip going in and out of the pocket. So that's my thoughts on that. Beacon's a good knife, definitely competitive, and definitely going to be something that is going to, I think, challenge some manufacturers out there at that price point, and what they're bringing to the table. What could I recommend that is competitive? That's going to be really tough, because if you're looking for titanium and you're looking for 20 CV at this price point, there's a lot of options in the market. You know, there you can get, you know, for $280, I have found that you can get like a ZT knife that has 20 CV and titanium, and they've been manufacturing them for years. And they're on bearings. They have pretty good action. I would say because they're a little bit older, sometimes you get like that late lockup. So you got to get them on top of the pivot ball before they'll break down. And, you know, there's so many out there. I brought out earlier to talk about the inset liner lock. You can get an MKM Gosia for around $250, which is an Italian-made knife with N390. And I think, you know, the pocket clip on it's done better. I feel like the milling on this gives you better ergonomics. Really good performing steel. I really do like the actual size of this compared to the Wee Beacon. A little bit thicker, a little bit more weight in pocket, but I also think that's because you're getting thick slabs of titanium that are not milled out, and they do have the curved ergonomics. So it does have a little bit more weight, but I think the ergos and the pocket clip are done better. I like the fact that it does have the inset liner lock, and I do have skiffs on these, so it does, you know, it is really smooth. I'm still breaking it in because I don't carry it all the time, but I think that's another really good option. Or you could just save some money, go pick out a bug out for $140, and then for like $70 more, you could pick up a set of titanium scales, anodize them yourself, and have like a really cool different pocket knife that has your own personal touch to it and has an extremely well built lock that is ambidextrous. So I'm trying to think of things, because instead of always just doing a review, if you're interested in this knife because you have it and you want to see what my thoughts are, I think it's a good knife. If you're checking this knife out and you're looking for recommendations for alternatives or other knives to look at alongside of this knife, I'm trying to do that with what I have in my repertoire. Now, keep in mind, Axial is getting ready to release a titanium knife. Axial is an American-made company, and it's manufactured here in the US. So that is another knife that I'm hoping that I can get soon. But check them out if you're watching this video for research purposes, if you're trying to think of one. It's really hard this is a tough market. There's a bunch of knives out there that you consider. Another Chinese knife, if you want something with more style to it. I like the blade shape on this one better. For about the same price point of $199, you can get the Concept Predatal with S30V titanium. What I like about this one a little bit more is it does have milling in the handles, and the curvature locks it in place when you're using this knife in hand. And again, I like the blade shape on it a little bit better. And S35VN, still a really good steel. 20 CV, a little bit better performing steel, but when you get into these super steels, you're talking about marginal differences when you start to move between them. You just have to decide, you want better edge retention, you want more corrosive resistance, you want better toughness, and even then, marginal differences at this level. It's really tough to get exceptional differences at this level. So this is definitely a knife that I would put in my recommended playlist for knives over $100. Thanks for tuning in. If you like the video, do me a favor, leave a like for it. And if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. Don't forget to turn on your notifications to all so that you get alert when all feature videos drop, and you can decide which ones you watch and which ones you don't. And I appreciate all the support. I'm going to be doing a giveaway here in April, so make sure you're on the lookout for that video. You can do that by setting that notification bell that I mentioned earlier to all. That'll help you guys know when that's going to drop. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Stay sharp, and until next time, peace.